You know, some folks got a knack for guessing lottery numbers. Me? I got this other thing. A real pain in the ass, if I'm being honest. My name's Ethan Vance, 32, architect. Live out in the Ohio suburbs. A pretty normal life, except for, well, this. It started small, a flicker here and there. Like I'd be talking to Mark from accounting, and I'd already seen it. The coffee, already sloshing over the brim of his mug, a dark brown stain spreading across his pristine white shirt before he even took a step. I'd just stare. Nothing new there. Or I'd know exactly what Mr. Henderson, my boss, was going to ask about the Westridge project, down to the exact phrasing, 5 minutes before he even opened his mouth. Every time, it always felt like a replay, a bad, boring, endless replay. For years, I told myself it was just a side effect, a glitch from the accident. You know, when I was 7, that car crash. My mom, she didn't make it. I just remember the lights, the screech, then darkness. Doc said I had a pretty nasty head injury, brain trauma they called it. My personal theory? My brain got a little too overloaded back then, maybe stuck in a loop. Like it was constantly trying to anticipate everything, rerun the tape, just to make sure I wasn't caught off guard again. A scar, I guess, a weird, annoying scar that gave me this reverse déjà vu. It was a real drag. I just wanted a normal life, where tomorrow was, a surprise, something to look forward to. But every tomorrow felt like a page already turned, read, and then forced back into the binder, waiting to unfold. Made me feel like I was just going through the motions, a puppet on strings I couldn't see, dancing to a tune I already knew by heart. Dinner invites? Nah. Movie nights? Nope. I already knew how the jokes would land, how awkward the silences would be, who'd spill popcorn on the couch. So I started dodging things, little by little. Just wanted to keep some mystery, some control over what felt like a predetermined future. It meant I spent a lot more time alone. And the silence in my apartment? Sometimes it was a comfort. Sometimes it just made the hum in my head louder. This morning, for example, the big delivery truck, the one with the faded Ohio Logistics logo, it banked hard around the corner, too fast. And for a split second, boom, like a camera flash in my head. Not the truck, not really, but the image of bright, blinding headlights, too close, too sudden. The screech of tires tearing into asphalt, a sound that always made my teeth ache. My stomach just dropped. I leaned against the office window, felt the cold glass on my forehead. Just a reflex, I told myself. PTSD, old wounds, just a bad memory playing tricks, nothing else. Gotta keep it together, Ethan. Just a truck. Later, I was sitting there, minding my own business, trying to figure out if beige was really the right color for the new hospital wing. My pen, a cheap blue Bic, was balanced on the edge of my desk. I knew it would fall. Of course I knew. I'd already seen it, about 10 seconds into the future. It would roll off, hit the floor with a tiny plastic clatter, then bounce under my chair. Usual stuff. I'd seen it unfold 100 times, in 100 different scenarios. But then, this flash, another one. And it wasn't the pen falling. It was my hand, my fingers, reaching out, pushing it. A jolt, right down my spine, cold, like someone had poured ice water straight onto my brain. I actually flinched, hard. The pen was still there, balanced, waiting. What the hell was that? My heart thumped, a frantic little drum in my chest. My hands felt clammy all of a sudden. I stared at my fingers, spread out on the desk, perfectly still. They hadn't moved. They couldn't have moved. Then it happened. Just like I'd always known. The pen rolled, clattered, bounced under my chair. But it felt different. Not just the usual déjà vu chill. There was this tremor, a shiver in the fabric of things, like a tiny, almost imperceptible hiccup in reality. Like the universe took a breath, held it, then let it out, but not quite smoothly. A distortion, barely there, but it was there. I felt it. Did I actually see myself push it? Or was it just my brain glitching out again, trying to make sense of something that made no sense? No, it was clear. Too clear. My hand, my own damn hand. But I didn't want to push it. I wanted it to just fall naturally, like it always did.
Am I just a puppet? Is everything I see just me making it happen or changing it? But it always ends up the same. Always. The thought was a cold knot in my gut, a fear I hadn't felt before. Because if my gift wasn't just seeing, but causing, then what was I really? And what else was I causing without even knowing it? My head felt light, like all the blood had drained out. I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry, scratchy. All those little visions, all those seemingly insignificant things, the spilled coffee, the cat jumping the fence, the exact words of a salesperson. Were they just me, playing out a script I'd written without realizing it? Was I the one pulling the strings? Or was there something else, something pulling mine? This wasn't just a weird brain thing anymore. This was something else, something dark, something that chewed on the edges of my sanity, leaving ragged holes. The pen, forgotten under my chair, suddenly felt like a ticking bomb. A tiny blue plastic bomb waiting to blow up everything I thought I knew. Man, that pen thing from yesterday, it really messed with my head. I used to tell myself it was just, my brain replaying old tapes, a glitch from the crash, a weird little souvenir from almost dying. But seeing my own hand push that damn pen, it wasn't a replay. It felt like a rehearsal, and I was the unwilling star, doing exactly what I'd already seen myself do. It's like the universe had already made up its mind, and I was just along for the ride, forced to hit my marks. That little theory about the head trauma, about my brain being overloaded or stuck in a loop, it felt like a cheap excuse now, a flimsy cardboard box trying to hold back a rising tide. The tide was here, and it was starting to drown me. Every little flicker, every little pre-vision felt heavier, sharper. It wasn't just annoying anymore. It was a constant, gnawing anxiety. Like someone was whispering the ending of every movie right before I watched it. Only this movie was my actual life, and the ending always felt inevitable. I'd wake up in the morning, and the day wasn't fresh. It was already stale, already lived, just waiting for me to catch up. And what if I screwed up? What if I tried to change something? Would it get worse? Or would I just be forced back onto the same path, but through a much uglier detour? I started testing it. Nothing dramatic, just small stuff. On my way to work, I'd see the vision. I'd turn right at the intersection, heading past old Mrs. Gable's house, and her stupid cat, Marmalade, would be sitting on the fence eyeing me like I owed it money. Every single time. So, one morning, I made a point of it. Saw the right turn, saw Marmalade. Nope, I muttered to myself. Not today, buddy. I gripped the steering wheel, felt the plastic dig into my palms. My heart was already pounding, like I was about to rob a bank, not just drive a different route. I would turn left. I wouldn't see that damn cat. I would do something different. My turn signal clicked left. I started easing the wheel over. My jaw was clenched so tight I could feel my teeth ache. This was it. This was me taking back control. This was me, Ethan Vance, telling the universe to go screw itself. And then, just as the car was halfway through the turn, a horn blared, loud, right next to me. A beat-up old pickup truck, spitting black smoke, came roaring out of a hidden alleyway on my left, going way too fast. He wasn't even looking, just plowing forward. No way I could avoid him if I kept turning left. My muscles reacted before my brain even processed it, swerved hard. The tires squealed, my stomach jumped into my throat. And just like that, I was back on the main road, forced right, narrowly missing the pickup truck by mere inches. My hands were shaking, my breath was ragged, and there it was, old Mrs. Gable's house, and on the fence, Marmalade, sitting there, fat and smug, looking right at me, like it knew, like it was expecting me. A cold, heavy rock settled in my gut. I cursed under my breath, a shaky, whispered, "God damn it." It wasn't just knowing anymore. It was being directed. Every single attempt to deviate just felt like a cosmic punch to the face, shoving me back onto the pre-approved track. It was like I was trapped in a damn video game, and no matter what button I pushed, the game had its own script. The anxiety was relentless. It wasn't just the small stuff either.
A few days later, I was reviewing blueprints for the new library project. Everything looked fine, standard stuff. But then, a flash, not a clear image, but a deep, sickening lurch in my gut, like the whole building was unstable. I saw the architectural drawings, but overlaying them was this strange, shimmering distortion, specifically around one of the main support beams. It felt wrong. Deeply, fundamentally wrong. My hands actually felt clammy just looking at the paper. I tried to shake it off. "Ethan, you're losing it," I told myself. But the feeling clung on to me, a sticky, dark residue. I double-checked the calculations, ran simulations. Everything was within tolerance. Logically, it was fine. But my gut screamed. It wasn't a déjà vu nook in the usual sense. I hadn't seen the beam fall, just the deep, chilling sense of instability. It was more like a psychic bruise, a pre-pain. It made my skin prickle. I couldn't shake it. It started chewing at the edges of my focus, making it impossible to concentrate. The hum in my head was louder than ever. I started looking up things online, late at night, when the rest of the world was asleep. Precognition, prophecy, psychic visions, déjà vu explanations. I scrolled through forums, articles, even some really wild conspiracy theories. Most of it was garbage, of course. Lunatics talking about alien abductions and government mind control. But a tiny, terrified part of me started to wonder, if it wasn't a head injury, if it wasn't just a glitch, then what the hell was it, and why me? The thought felt like walking barefoot on broken glass. My safe explanation was crumbling, and the abyss beneath it looked terrifyingly real. That night, it got worse, much, much worse. I was asleep, tangled in my sheets, probably dreaming of boring architectural models when it happened. The dream wasn't a dream. It was a plunge, a sickening drop right into the heart of the past. The car, the familiar, suffocating smell of old upholstery, the faded dashboard, my mom's hand on the wheel, the radio playing some cheesy pop song she loved. It was so real, I could feel the slight vibrations of the road beneath us. Then, the lights, blinding, pure white, searing into my eyes, filling the entire windshield. The screech, a raw, tearing sound that vibrated through my bones, making my teeth ache, just like always. The lurch of the car as my mom swerved. And then, the new detail, the one that slammed into me with the force of a concrete block. Her eyes. In the rearview mirror, they weren't wide with shock, not yet. They weren't lost in thought, not distracted. They were huge, round, and absolutely, profoundly terrified, staring straight into the mirror. And she wasn't looking at the truck coming at us. She was looking behind us, at something else. Something in the back seat, maybe, or just outside the rear window. My stomach twisted into a cold, hard knot. My heart hammered against my ribs, a trapped bird desperate to escape. Because as her eyes locked on to whatever was behind us, for the briefest, most horrifying fraction of a second, a shadow moved. Just a blur. Too fast, too indistinct. Not a person, not exactly, but a presence, darker than dark, a wrongness that rippled through the air, even in the dream. It was too tall, too thin, and it felt cold, impossibly cold, like something that shouldn't exist, even in the deepest corners of the night. Then the impact. Darkness. I shot upright in bed, gasping for air. My sheets were soaked. My heart was a frantic drum solo in my chest. My breath hitched. My entire body trembled, a deep, uncontrollable shiver that started from my core and radiated outwards. "What the hell was that?" I whispered, my voice hoarse, barely audible in the terrifying silence of my apartment. My hands flew to my face, gripping my temples, trying to push the image away. But it was seared there. Her eyes. That shadow. My mom wasn't distracted. She wasn't just driving along, oblivious. She was scared, terrified, looking at something that scared her more than the oncoming headlights. And that shadow, it wasn't a trick of the light. It wasn't the 7-year-old me misremembering. It was new. It was there. Suddenly, a memory, cold and sharp, pierced through the fog of terror. Why I never kept any photos of my mom visible in my apartment. Why I always tucked them away, deep in a box, almost like I was trying to bury her.
I always told myself it was too painful, too sad. But was it? Was it really just grief? Or was I subconsciously trying to bury something else? Something I'd seen or felt that was far worse than just a car crash. The head injury. The convenient, easy explanation for everything. It crumbled to dust in that moment. If it wasn't a brain glitch, if it wasn't PTSD, then what was this ability? What was this curse? And what the hell really happened that night? My entire life, built on that one awful memory, was a lie. A carefully constructed lie to protect me from something far more monstrous. The world spun, and I was left in the dark, truly, utterly alone, with a question that felt like a death sentence. If not a scar, then what? The smell of roasting turkey and pumpkin pie hit me the moment I stepped through Dee Clara's front door. Fake warmth, man, that's what it felt like. Everyone was laughing, shouting greetings, the usual Thanksgiving chaos. But to me, it was like watching a movie I'd already seen, except I was stuck in it. Every joke, every hug, every spill, I'd already had a flash of it. Just another scene in the pre-recorded show of my life. "Ethan, darling, you look tired, honey." Dee Clara, bless her heart, gave me a squeeze that nearly took the breath out of me. Her eyes, still sharp even at 70-something, held a flicker of concern. "Just busy at work, Dee," I managed, plastering on a smile that felt brittle. She didn't know the half of it. Work was a nightmare. Home was worse. My head felt like a radio tuned to 1,000 different stations, all of them static, all of them playing bits of tomorrow's news. I walked into the living room, a sea of familiar faces. My cousins, aunts, uncles. They were all there, oblivious. I saw my cousin Sarah already reaching for the last dinner roll, just like I knew she would. Saw my uncle spill a bit of wine on his new sweater, exactly where I'd already seen the dark stain bloom. It was exhausting. Like my brain was doing overtime, buffering every second before it happened. The joy, the surprise, the genuine human reactions, they were all muted for me, flattened into a weird sense of inevitability. God, it was lonely. I grabbed a glass of iced tea, trying to look normal. Tried to make small talk, but my mind kept drifting. Back to that dream from last night. Mom's eyes. That shadow. The way it moved, quick and wrong, in the back seat. It wasn't a nightmare. It was a revelation. A punch to the gut that left me gasping. Everything I thought I knew about the accident, about her, about me, just crumbled. That head injury theory? Gone. Replaced by a cold, sharp dread that something far more messed up was going on.
Later, when most of the family had drifted off to watch the football game or argue about politics in the dining room, Dee Clara and I found ourselves in the kitchen, washing dishes. The rhythmic clinking of plates was almost soothing. Almost. "You really do look worn out, Ethan," Dee Clara said, her voice soft, not judgmental. She was scrubbing a stubborn casserole dish. Something more than just work, isn't it? My shoulders sagged. I wanted to tell someone, needed to tell someone, before whatever this was broke me completely. I mean, who else would I tell? My therapist would probably prescribe stronger meds. My friends would just laugh it off, tell me to stop watching too many horror movies. But Dee Clara, she was Mom's closest friend. She knew Mom better than anyone. Maybe, just maybe, she could offer some kind of explanation. "Dee," I started, my voice lower than I intended, almost a whisper. It's this thing, this seeing things before they happen." She paused, dish rag still. She didn't look at me, just kept staring at the casserole dish. It's getting worse. It used to be just little flashes, you know, like a weird déjà vu. But now it's like my whole life is a script, and I'm just reading my lines. I try to change it, Dee. I really do. But it just forces me back. Like that time with Mrs. Gable's cat. I tried to turn left, but this truck came out of nowhere, and I had to swerve right past the cat I'd already seen. It feels like I'm losing my mind. My voice cracked. I always thought it was, a brain thing. From the crash. A leftover trauma. My brain just rewiring itself, maybe. Trying to make sense of what happened to Mom. How she just didn't see it.
I trailed off, the old familiar narrative feeling hollow even as I spoke it. The memory of Mom's terrified eyes in the rearview mirror, looking behind us, flashed through my mind. But I didn't tell Dee Clara about that. I couldn't. Not yet. Dee Clara put the dish down gently, her hands still in the soapy water. She turned, finally, and looked at me. Her expression was contemplative. No shock, no judgment, just a kind of sad recognition. A deep sigh left her lips, barely audible over the hum of the dishwasher. "You know," she said, her voice calm, so unbelievably calm, "your mom was like that too, Ethan." The air left my lungs, just evaporated. "Yeah," Dee Clara continued, picking up a plate and drying it, slowly, deliberately. "Your mom always had that knowing things way about her. Kinda like she had eyes in the back of her head. She was always sharp, always sensed danger before it came. She even gave a small, distant smile. Saved me from a fall down the stairs once. I was reaching for something, lost my footing, and before I even knew I was falling, she was there. Grabbed me by the arm, strong as an ox, pulled me back up. Said she just knew it was going to happen." My hands, clutching the teacup, started to shake. A tremor that started in my fingers and quickly spread through my entire body. Dee Clara's gaze drifted to the window, to the bare branches of the oak tree outside, coated in the fading light of late afternoon. "So," she said, her voice trailing off, "I still can't understand why that night she didn't see that truck. She was always so sharp." The teacup rattled in my grip. A cold, heavy weight dropped straight through my chest, down to my feet, making my knees weak. My explanation, my whole damn life, built on this flimsy idea of a head injury, of a distracted mom, of me being the one with the weird brain glitch. It was all a lie, a self-made fortress against something I couldn't comprehend. Mom had it too. She knew. If she was so sharp, if she always sensed danger, if she could save Dee Clara from a fall, why didn't she see the truck? Why did she die? Was it because she was looking behind her, at that shadow? Was that what scared her more than a head-on collision? My mind raced, fragments of thoughts like broken glass. My eyes felt blank. I stared past Dee Clara, past the window, into nothing. The clatter of plates, the distant shouts from the living room, the comforting smell of home, it all faded into a distant, warped hum, like the world itself was pulling away from me. And then it hit me. Not a sound, not a touch, but a flash, quick and brutal, of myself sitting here, right now. My eyes vacant, my mouth slightly open, my face pale. Just as I was seeing it, I felt that familiar lurch, that sickening sense of precognition. But this time, in the vision, it wasn't just me. Behind me, just at the edge of my peripheral vision, a movement, a blur, taller than a man, thinner than smoke. It wasn't just a shadow, not like the one in my dream. This one felt aware, a distortion in the air, a ripple of something wrong, impossibly cold. It seemed to lean closer, a silent, unseen presence, and in the way it moved, the way the air seemed to thicken around it, there was a sense of interest, a dark, knowing interest in my despair, like it was listening, like it was pleased. I blinked. The vision vanished. The kitchen was just the kitchen. The sounds came back, crashing over me. Clara was still drying the plate, her back to me. Nothing, absolutely nothing was there. But the cold, it wasn't just in my gut anymore. It was on my skin, a prickling, crawling sensation up my spine. My hands started to shake, the teacup clattering against the saucer. I gripped the countertop, my knuckles white. Holy shit, holy fucking shit. It wasn't just a scar from an old injury. It wasn't a trick of memory. It wasn't just my brain glitching out. That shadow in my dream, it was real. And it wasn't just in the past, haunting my mom. It wasn't just a prevision of some future horror. It was here, right now, with me, listening, watching. My entire life had been a lie, a flimsy cardboard box I'd used to cover up a gaping, horrifying truth. Mom had it too. She knew. If she was so sharp, if she always sensed danger, if she could save Clara from a fall, why didn't she see the truck? Why did she die? Was it because she was looking behind her, at that shadow? Was that what scared her more than a head-on collision? My mind raced, fragments of thoughts like broken glass. My eyes felt blank. I stared past Clara, past the window, into nothing. The clatter of plates, the distant shouts from the living room, the comforting smell of home, it all faded into a distant, warped hum, like the world itself was pulling away from me. And then it hit me. Not a sound, not a touch, but a flash, quick and brutal, of myself, sitting here, right now. My eyes vacant, my mouth slightly open, my face pale. Just as I was seeing it, I felt that familiar lurch, that sickening sense of precognition. But this time, in the vision, it wasn't just me. Behind me, just at the edge of my peripheral vision, a movement, a blur, taller than a man, thinner than smoke. It wasn't just a shadow, not like the one in my dream. This one felt aware, a distortion in the air, a ripple of something wrong, impossibly cold. It seemed to lean closer, a silent, unseen presence, and in the way it moved, the way the air seemed to thicken around it, there was a sense of interest, a dark, knowing interest in my despair, like it was listening, like it was pleased. I blinked. The vision vanished. The kitchen was just the kitchen. The sounds came back, crashing over me. Clara was still drying the plate, her back to me. Nothing, absolutely nothing was there. But the cold, it wasn't just in my gut anymore. It was on my skin, a prickling, crawling sensation up my spine. My hands started to shake violently, the teacup clattering against the saucer. I gripped the countertop, my knuckles white.
Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. It wasn't just a scar from an old injury. It wasn't a trick of memory. It wasn't just my brain glitching out. That shadow in my dream, it was real. And it wasn't just in the past, haunting my mom. It wasn't just a prevision of some future horror. It was here, right now, with me, listening, watching. My entire life had been a lie, a flimsy cardboard box I'd used to cover up a gaping, horrifying truth.
If this wasn't trauma, if it wasn't my ability, or if it was both, and it failed my mom so spectacularly, then what the hell happened that night? And what the hell was happening to me now? I stared into the empty space behind me, a deep, bone-chilling question echoing in the sudden, deafening silence inside my head. If not a scar, then what? And why did it choose me?